So I've already got 2 other things automatically that I'm being treated for. So I'm being over medicated in my book. That's insanity.
And quite literally, that's what it was doing to you as well, wasn't it?
It was driving me insane. You know, I got 3 kids. I'm a single father. My kids are even freaking out on me because they know it's not me. And they know I'd wander around the house and everything else and couldn't talk to them. I didn't even know who the hell they was. I'd ask them what they're doing at my place. Now, you know, I mean, so psychologically, I don't know what's going on, and it's not affecting me personally, but I'm affecting my children. All because of prescription drugs. And cannabis doesn't make me go out and do crap like that.
Well, tell me about the side effects, though, from the cannabis. What side effects did you have from using the cannabis, though? I mean, obviously we're talking about an illegal drug here, so there must be some kind of side effects there for, you know, something that's caused.
That I'm gonna, you know, I might overeat. I might actually just, you know, mellow out and hang out and not go out and run around everywhere. I might be able to sleep I might be able to sleep a longer period of time than I would on a normal basis. If that's side effects, well, hell, I'd rather take them over the other ones. I mean, I'm not sleeping. I'm riding a 4-wheeler in December. It's cold. Could be catching pneumonia. Stupidity. I'm not talking to my kids in a prospective manner. I'm talking to them, don't even know who they are. It's like, you know, coming up to your father and your father all of a sudden says he don't know who you are. That would hurt me. If my father would tell me he didn't know who I was, you know, especially when he's in my house with me every day. I live with him, and he says he don't know who I am. So then I got to think, you know, sit down and think, you know, to myself, well, does my father really love me, or is there just something wrong? Well, I'm telling this to an 8-year-old. An 8-year-old don't know that medication can do this to you, so they have no explanation in mind. My 16-year-old can figure it out. But my twin 8-year-olds don't have a clue. So they're at a loss. So they're thinking Daddy hates them. You know, for me to have to sit down and have to hear that because they went and told somebody else about it and they had to come and tell me, made me cry. It's insanity. Insanity. I mean, you know, to be put in that situation to damage my children to get rid of a freaking headache. It's not treating me for what I'm needing to be treated for. Hell, you know, cannabis worked for my uncle when he was dying, you know, of cancer. When chemotherapy was keeping him from eating, he was smoking marijuana and was able to eat, and he lived longer than they said he was going to do.
You said he was a man about your size.
He was a 300-pound man just like me.
And what did cancer do to him?
Cancer ate him down to 121 pounds when he died. So basically, he was the skin and the bones. That was all that was left of him.
And and you say he used cannabis?
Yeah.
How did the cannabis help him with the cancer?
Well, the chemotherapy made him sick, nauseous, couldn't taste foods or anything. And the cannabis gave him his hunger back. He was able to eat. He was able to drink. The pain from the chemotherapy, he said, was like putting fire in your veins. And to look at the man and to, you know, if I showed you 2 pictures of him, you would swear up and down it wasn't the same man. There'd be no way you could say that was the same man. Because he didn't even look the same. It fried him out so bad that he didn't even have any resemblance of who he was. None. Only reason we knew it was him is because he was wearing the same clothes he always wore, and when he was talking to us, we heard his voice. But to look at him, he wasn't the same man.
But using cannabis allowed him to be able to...
He lived for 5 years longer than they said he was going to live. He would, you know, he would take the chemotherapy and he'd lose 25 to 30 pounds while he was doing the therapy. When he'd get off of it, he would smoke and he would gain that back. So when he came back in, he'd have color and weight gain. So he was able to be ready for the next batch of stuff, but they'd break him right back down again, and he'd go back out and do it again. Got to be something to it, you know. Got to be something to it. If he, you know, if he was able to be willing to go back through that trial and have to put on that mess, knowing that he had something to go back to, is the only way he could have done it. Because I've been through some pain and everything. I don't think I would have probably killed myself having to go through his madness. There's no way.
Well, Brent, we talked a little earlier, and we talked about people who are sick in this state, here in Missouri. And we talked a bit about the need for cannabis for our state. And we talked about the fact that we have legislation that's coming up in this state. I'm going to ask you a question. If you had the opportunity to speak to your state representative right now, what would you like to take and tell him?
I'd like to ask him.
Well, just a second, Brent. Don't tell me. You tell them. If you could take and just speak right to the camera right there and tell him exactly what you would like to tell him.
I would like him to sit down and honestly go through and look at those people that are taking cannabis and see their effects. Look at the medical administration that's going on now and look at them and say, look, if I have a drug that gives you multiple side effects, and you have cannabis on this side that gives you only minor side effects, how is this worse than this? There is no comparison. Medical, pharmaceutical, narcotics, 9 out of 10 times give you multiple complications other than what you are being treated for. I'm living proof of that. I got a list of medications I've been given. Pain pills. Pain pills numb you out, make you drunk, can't operate a vehicle. Marijuana, you can still probably operate a vehicle, you can still function on the thing, and you're not numb to society. You can still make sensible thoughts and rational thoughts on it. Ambien, I didn't have no rational thoughts. Marijuana, I can sit there and tell you what I did last night. I can't get high enough that I forget everything. Drinking alcohol, I can. That's the question to me. Where is the comparison? The comparison is simply that cannabis works, pharmaceuticals don't. Not saying all pharmaceuticals don't work. I'm saying that pharmaceuticals don't work all the time. Cannabis will always have the same effects on just about 100% of the people at 100% of the time. It doesn't change. There's never been proved that that's going to kill you. There's never been no ganja-related accident that killed somebody or OD'd them on a normal aspirin. If I take 13 aspirin at a time, I can die. If I take 13 hits from marijuana, I'm not going to die. You know, I mean, how simple is it got to be, Mark?
Well, I think we got enough, Brent. Appreciate you taking and sitting for an interview with me. And,
I'd like to sit down with the politicians once and interview them about what's going on and hear their answers, which they would probably refuse to see me. You know, and that's the sad part. They're supposed to be representing us as American citizens and everything else, and we're supposed to be able to get the medical care we want. We're supposed to be one of the freest nations in the world, and even the doctors themselves feel that marijuana is got its own medical purposes. They've been saying it for years, but it falls on deaf ears every day.
well, I guess we just need to make big enough noise that they can make them listen to us.
Thing is, what do we got to do to make a big enough noise? That's the question.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people's got to die from not being able to use this product before we do something about it?
Thanks, Brent. Well, appreciate you doing the interview with me, buddy.
No problem.
I hope some of your buddies in the wrestling field get to hear this interview, because you know what? The more people who will speak out like you did, the greater the opportunity we're going to have to be able to get cannabis legal in this state.
I'm not the only one. Everybody's afraid of what the government prosecution is going to be over a simple little joint.
That's right.
I mean, we're not hurting anybody.